All right.
Do we have that?
Aside mapping, a lot of Nigerians do not really understand, the, would I say, how your office operates. How would you say that the Office of the Surveyor General supports Nigeria, especially in managing emergencies and disasters like floods, building collapse, and all of that? How does your office come into?
This is one of the neglects we have again. We have a department in charge of infrastructure. This department is responsible for running on a daily basis, but we don't have that kind of resources to do that. If we talk about developed country, they have equipment. They call this robotic theodolites. You don't need to move the equipment away from wherever it is. Let's take Third Mainland Bridge for an example. The equipment on its own is programmed maybe to take a reading, let's say by 8 o'clock in the morning. It takes another one by 12 noon. It takes another one maybe around 4. And nobody operates it. It sends this information straight to the server. And the man in charge of the server sits down there. Or if not man, if it's an unmanned server, he sends an information to your phone to tell you that I'm suspecting a disaster. Then there will be the need for us, for somebody to sit down behind it. By your question now, we produce all sorts of map. We produce emergency map. We produce, in the first instance, let's look at what we call map. A map is an all-purpose instrument. It all depends on what you want from the map. Are you looking at height? That is what we call undulation. How does the point A to point B, what is their difference when it comes to height? Then away from there, are we looking at how the rivers flow? River flows from high point to low point. Then do we have requisite map of the area that tells us that these are low areas and these are high areas? The floodplain is where some people like to go and build their houses. And there's what we call early warning. Who is that person that gives approval to that person that built along the flood-prone area? We have all this in the archive. But when people want to give approval, even sometimes when you give the approval, people will come and tell you that, no, I want to build in a particular area. No. Because it belongs to the elites.
No, Surveyor General, let me just ask you this. How independent is your office? We have the Office of the Surveyor General of the Federation. I guess we also have in the various states.
Of course.
Are you independent from the normal government operations? The reason is you said you give warning, this is the floodplain, and people go to build. Do you have capacity to come up with an update and say, no, what government wants to do in this area negates environmental details? Do you have capacity to stop people? And if not, why? What is the international best practice? Are you supposed to operate under the government system or as an independent agency that guides governments?
You are supposed to operate as an independent.
So what do we have here?
Under the government. Okay. And that is one of the bane of being with the government. I talked about infrastructural department just now. And we run a survey on top of so many bridges. What is happening in Lagos now is as a result of a survey we carried out, I think about 3-4 years ago. And we said there's a problem with the Third Mainland Bridge. Ab initio, the government did not take it lightly. They were saying, no, there's nothing wrong with the Third Mainland Bridge. We run a second one, and we show the data that the problem is widening up. Then they call in an independent company to come and run that survey. We have collaboration with University of Lagos. And then we donated an equipment which we call CORE, Continuously Operating Government Station. These are an equipment that take reading on the same spot every seconds. And all the way from Lagos, it sends the data down to Abuja. And when the data start misbehaving, then it means there's a problem. Then we alerted them back in like that there's a problem with data that we are getting from your core. So away from the automated system now, they now took an equipment that is trying to see it yourself and go to where we call controls. These are points that have fields coordinate, and they now run it on 3rd Mainland Bridge at different airports. They found out that there's a problem with 3rd Mainland Bridge. And this was passed to the controller of works in Lagos. Ditto, there's a problem with Nuritala Muhammed Bridge now. But nobody is taking us serious.
So what's the problem? Is it that the government does not trust your expertise? If you give them an alert and they don't take immediate action, they have to consult with independent practitioners. Is it that they don't trust the expertise of
It's not that they don't trust us. The Nigerian factors now comes in. That is why I said if the Office of Surveyor General of Federation is empowered and you have your own enforcement unit, if you tell anybody, don't go to that place to build and you build there, you don't need to wait for any other person to give you the authority. All you need to do is you just go there and then you demolish that. Because surveying in Nigerian context came along with the Constitution of Nigeria. The practice of surveying in Nigeria is as old. It's even older than Nigeria. In the 19th century was when surveying came into being. Pre-colonial era. And when the Constitution of Nigeria was written, a section was given to surveying practice, where they talk about triangulation, and the all-popular survey that we all know, cadastral survey. Okay. But we don't have that enforcement unit.
Now,